This is a disclaimer. The views, information, or opinions expressed in the China Chill podcast series are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent accurate information. The primary purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform. This podcast series does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services. You may not cut, edit, or redistribute this podcast without the express approval of the China Chill podcast team. The developers of the China Chill podcast assume no liability for any activities in connection with this podcast or for use of this podcast in connection with any other website, computer, or device. Thank you. And if you like our content, please make sure to like this video and subscribe.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to the China Chill podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Rahman. Today, I have some wonderful guests with me, Waleed and Mo. So before we get into this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the China Chill podcast. Also comment down below any future topics you'd like to see covered on the podcast. So we got our biggest star here for our podcast, I think. We got Jay Blendz. Jay, how are you?
Yes, how are you?
I'm good. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Jay. What are you? Who are you? What kind of person are you?
Named Jay Blendz, man. Grew up in Brooklyn, New York. Lived there all my life. Brownsville in particular. That's all I know is Brooklyn, man. Been born and raised there. Not a Knicks fan, in case you guys are. I'm not a Knicks fan. Lakers all the way. So it's hard to cheer for a New York team. I'm the oldest out of four brothers. And, I love to cut hair. That's what I do. Make people look good.
Nice. So, what made you decide to pursue being a barber? And are you full-time or part-time? How does that work?
Part-time right now. Part-time, although my schedule seems like it's full-time, but I'm in a barbershop part-time. I got into barbering because I got tired of my hair being messed up. So you're the only one that really knows how you want your hair and how you wear it. So I decided to just cut my own hair. And being the oldest out of four brothers, it was easy to experiment on my younger brothers.
Okay. All right. So then what type of barbershop did you go to, like, growing up as a kid? How was it like?
Back then, barbershops were the place to go. Like, you had grown-ups that would go to clubs. You had grown-ups that would hang out the neighborhood corner stores. But the barbershop as a young kid is the place to be, man, because that's where you hear everything that you need to know about life. As a young kid, you hear older guys talk about women, talk about sex, talk about everything. And throughout the whole barbershop, there's profanity, stuff that's not allowed. It wasn't allowed in my household. So to go to the barbershop was it was a place to be. Nice.
So would you ever pursue being a part-time full-time barber? Or is it just kind of like more of a serious hobby for you?
No, I would absolutely 100% do it full-time. I currently work a full-time job. So until that day where I can hang it up and retire, I would definitely go into barbering full-time.
Nice. So what is the dream barbershop for you? Like, what does it look like? Or is it your current barbershop right now? Or, how would you want it designed, type of thing?
My current barbershop is the dream barbershop.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. The feedback that I get from everybody that comes in is exactly what everybody pictures the barbershop to be. I got everything in there but the waterfall.
Yeah. So, describe your barbershop for the viewers. How does it look like, and what kind of thought process beforehand, or was this always a dream as a kid?
No, it wasn't. Actually, I already had a visual of what I wanted my shop to be. I wanted a little bit of old school plus modern in there. So the barbershops that I always enjoyed going to had a little bit of everything that in my current shop right now, where it's TVs everywhere. So I just took a little bit of every barbershop that I've ever been to and just put it into one big barbershop. So just keep it clean, sports memorabilia. Just as soon as you walk in the door, just make it feel like home.
Yeah, nice. So, what are some of your rules that you have in your barbershop? Like, what makes you more original to your name of being Jay Blendz Barbershop?
Well, I have to have rules in the barbershop because the barbershop is a family environment. So it's not only guys that's coming in there, it's females coming in there, children coming in there, whole families coming there at times. So I got to have rules set up where, you don't have your pants hanging off your butt, or you're not coming in smelling like smoke or weed or anything like that, because you got to be respectful for others. I got grandmothers that come in and bring their grandchildren. Their parents can't bring them to the barbershop because they're working. So I can't have a grandmother sitting in there and the guy next to her smells like weed or his pants is off his butt. I can't have that.
Yeah. Yeah, understandable, totally.
So, Jay, how's it going, man?
What's going on, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. How's everything with you?
I can't complain, man. I can't complain.
So I just want to say your shop is definitely one of the most unique I've been to. Going in there, like as a fellow Lakers fan and a Kobe fan, or the late Kobe
Day.
fan, I definitely appreciate going there, and certainly it's finding a barber is very important. It's almost like finding a good mechanic, a good doctor. People are gonna laugh about that, but I think it's very important.
Absolutely. 100%.
I'm fortunate to have found you through Daniel and his brother, near in Amsterdam. So my question is, have you ever? It's definitely a conversation starter, but obviously, your love for Kobe and the Lakers is strong. So have you ever had like anybody come in there and talk some nonsense? Being a fan of a different player or a different team.
All the time, man. I mean, I've been open now 4 years today, actually 4 years today, and since I have opened the shop, I've always had other people cheering for other teams, other players, and it's an ongoing argument all the time. So you got some that say Kobe's not the greatest, that LeBron is, or it's Michael Jordan, or like I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan. It's just a wide range of fans that come in there. So yeah, we get the bumping heads a lot.
Gotcha.
And Jay, is that something you like about your job? Just when cutting people's hair, you get into discussions and debates and different conversations with them, or how do you feel about that?
In itself is an underestimated craft. When you stand in a chair, I become your counselor. I become your best friend. So if you're going through something with at home, personal, with the girlfriend or just family, and you want that second opinion, it's usually the barber that you speak to. So it's I have plenty of stories where I have people in the chair and they're just pouring their eyes out. I have grown men in the chair crying because it's just a release. You know what I mean? So it's good to have that trust in people that they can confide in you to seek advice and leave the shop, not only looking good, but feeling good, emotionally wise.
Yeah. And I feel like that's I've been to many barbers, but you're kind of original in that fact that I always get a quality conversation with you. And, it could be about anything. It could be about politics. It could be about sports, particularly boxing. We always talk about Deontay Wilder, losing to Tyson Fury. And that's very original from you. And I do really appreciate that experience I get in your barbershop. And anyone in the 518 region that's looking for a new barber, I highly recommend Jay if you're looking for that. So clearly we have someone here in our podcast, Waleed, who has never been to a barber. He goes to good old Easy Clips. So Waleed, do you want to kind of elaborate why you don't hit up a barber in Connecticut?
Well, I actually tried to look for a barber for a short while, and I couldn't really find anyone. And I decided, my haircut is usually pretty simple. I don't get anything too special. I get a low fade and scissors on the top. So I thought that some form of franchise should be able to do it fine. I went to Supercuts, they weren't that good. And then I found Great Clips, and they've been doing pretty all right with my hair. So, I just kept on going there. It's been a few years now.
So, Waleed, let me ask you, do you typically go to the same person? Do you get it cut by the same person when you go to Great Clips?
Yeah, it's usually the same person.
Jay, what do you think about that? What do you think about Great Clips, man?
Yeah, listen, I'm not gonna bash any other business, man. I mean, it's everybody's choice is, everybody's choice. But in my experience as barbering, you're never gonna really get that fresh fade, that fresh lineup, unless you go to a barbershop. You know what I mean? Like you can go to Great Clips, you can go to Fantastic Sam's, Supercuts. I don't even know the other ones. And you could sit down in the chair and get the people to give you a cut and buzz you up real quick, and you're done in 15 minutes, and you out the door. You know what I mean? So like when I get your brother in the chair or you in the chair, give you guys a fresh fade and razor it right up. There's nothing close to that, man. You can't take that away.
Definitely agree. The attention to detail is in the hand of the person who appreciates what they do and they have their own business.
Absolutely.
That's something experience that I have with Jay. when I go there, the attention to detail, the attention to the fade is there. And I've been there. I've gotten my hair cut done at like, great clips before, like when I was younger, or even super cuts and things like that. And the result was never consistent, and it never was always how I wanted it. I walked out being okay with my haircut, was never happy with my haircut.
The way I like to usually compare it to is like you have two carpenters, and they both know how to lay sheetrock, they both know how to mud and sand, but there's always one where he puts the mud up and you can still see the tape through the mud, where you have another carpenter where the wall is just smooth. You don't even see the transition between the two sheetrocks. Like it's not saying that they're not good, but the attention to detail is everything, man. It's just the crisp lines, everything is just, that's what brings out the haircut, man.
I agree. I'll be seeing you this Friday. Looking forward to it.
I would definitely be there.
Yeah, just thinking about barbers and everything. I honestly wish that I had someone like you, Jay, somewhere next to me in Connecticut. But I really don't see anyone around like that. But if I had a barber like you around, I would definitely make sure to go to them instead.
Yeah.
I also just had a question for you. So I remember you were just speaking about how the barber was the place to go when you were little. So do you feel like that played a role in why you became a barber today?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've seen many people go into the barbershop speaking about their problems. And the surprising part is that when you walk in there with speaking about your particular problem and you got a barbershop full of guys, you'd be surprised that there's more than one person in there that could relate to your story. So now here you guys fetching ideas off of each other. And then not to mention the barber is chipping in, and now you're just walking away with a whole new outlook on the problem and how to deal with it, or just advice in itself. So it's the whole thing about opening a barbershop is to give that, just to give that type of environment to someone. I remember I had one barber in Brownsville, and he was an older Spanish guy. And I remember I used to get a number 1.5 up top with a skin fade. And I always used to get complimented on my fades. And I remember always saying that I wish I could cut like this guy. I wish I could, when I grow up, I could cut like him, because the compliments that I get, it showed that it was a good haircut. But I'm a younger guy. I just liked the way he cut. But it was really just a fresh fade. And I remember saying that I wish I could cut like this guy one day. Whether he's still alive or not, I'm not sure. But I'm just happy that I'm able to even give a fresh fade and people compliment on it.
Yeah. So, moving on, Jay, what kind of makes you original as a barber? What makes you you? Like, what do you think is the most unique about your personality?
Well, my whole thing is quality, not quantity. So you have a lot of barbers that want to get, 30, 40 clients in and just, cut them up and get them out. I'm stable enough and happy enough that I'm okay if I get 10 clients a day. As long as every single one leaves fresh, I'm okay. I refuse to rush through any haircut.
I've gotten comments, that, when I usually go to college, that my hairline's like, crisp and nice. How much practice did that take you? And if someone was going to pursue being a barber, what does it take? Like, how much practice, how much drive do you need? What do you think the qualities are, beginning as a barber, and how it evolves over time?
Well, you have to have a passion for it. That's number one. If you don't have a passion for it, then it's not going to work. Another thing too is it takes a lot of practice, because if you try to cut your own hair in the mirror, it would never look straight, and you're going to keep pushing that hairline back until there is no coming back. So it takes a lot of practice, man. I've messed up myself plenty of times. I messed up with my brothers plenty of times. It takes a lot of practice. You got to have a passion for it at the end of the day.
And what is the worst mess up you've gotten, cutting hair?
Oh my God. I pushed one of my boys' hairline back crazy, man. I gave him the LeBron before LeBron even came out. It was bad.
Love the reference.
And, going to these, like the idea of this any funny stories you have cutting hair, just any mess ups or any just weird people you've gotten in your shop?
Oh, I get weird people all the time, man. Just weird. I mean, you got people that come in with attitude. You got people that come in with the sense of entitlement, but then you got other people that just come in and just weird. Just like I have people that come in, I'm there cutting hair with somebody in the chair, and they would come in and say, "Hey, you open?" You know, it's just they kind of like throws me off. Like, okay, I'm in the shop, I'm cutting hair, the TV's on, I'm open. So it's kind of weird. I get all kind of weird people that come in there. But I mean, that's what makes the barbershop, I guess.
Especially that one guy with the podcast, you know, he's a bit weird. He's like in college. Yeah.
Super weird. Oh my
God. The guy's a clown, man. I just like see him all the time, man.
Yeah, super weird.
Yeah, guys always making like appointments outside of your schedule. Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, steals appointments too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody shoplift an appointment but that guy.
Oh. Yeah, and I was the victim there.
Yes, you were.
I remember.
So kind of moving on from, you know, away from the whole barbershop idea. I know a lot of this podcast was centered around that. You've recently started a non-for-profit organization for students graduating high school and going into college. Why did you do that? What was your thought process behind that? Did you specifically, when you were going into college, need something like that? Or when you graduated college, you're like, I want to do that in the future? Or
well, growing up, we didn't really have that. We had little organizations, but the organizations that were out there were very limited to the kids that it was in my area. So if you weren't really fast or had a really good jump shot, you weren't really getting the shot. Academics wasn't really, it was a priority, but not a priority back then. So one thing I always wanted to do was give back. I opened up here in Amsterdam, and they've been given to me since I moved here, from when I was working at another barbershop. You know, they gave me a chance, they sat in my chair, and the rest was history. But I get a lot of kids that come from broken homes, low income homes where the parents just can't do it. So if I can take the little means that I got and try to help them out, then that's what I want to do.
Yeah, and kind of tell us the whole idea behind your non-for-profit organization. You know, what is the name of it? What does it do? Who is it specifically for? Well,
the non-for-profit is called Jay Blendz for Kids, and it's a non-profit that I started here in Amsterdam. I do different events here in Amsterdam for Christmas, for back to school events where I give out school supplies and do haircuts for them when they go back to school. The Christmas event that I do is I fulfill a child's wish list. So he'll give me his Christmas list and I'll fulfill it, and I'll drop it off at their house, sort of like a Santa Claus kind of thing. So I started a Jay Blendz for Kids nonprofit organization in order to establish a scholarship fund that I'm funding. It's a $2,000 scholarship that I'm funding with my own money, and I'm awarding it to 4 children of $500 for them to go to college.
That's very, you know, paying it forward is the mechanism there. So it's very great work that you're doing, and you know, certainly giving back to the community or those that are, you know, less fortunate is always should be our drive, whatever environment we're working in, you know, because humanity is the one aspect that we should all focus on to improve the lives of others and society in general.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, the world, today's society is just so full of anger and hate, and you got to give back, man. People forget the fact that there are people out there that's loving and willing to, you know, help people, but it's kind of shadowed from everything else that's going on nowadays.
Yeah, so this nonprofit that you started is honestly very honorable of you to do, especially in order to, you know, participate and help those in your local community. I know you were saying that there's quite a few things that you've done in the community through Jay Blendz. So what kind of motivated you to become more active in your community?
Well, just the fact of giving back. I get a lot of kids, especially kids that come into the barbershop, and the first thing they do is look around, because when you first walk into the barbershop, you can't help but to look around, sort of like a museum, like, you know, that wow factor. So you get these kids that come in here and they think the barbershop is cool with the artifacts and the sports memorabilia, TVs everywhere. It's like they kind of like blown away. And I get a lot of questions like, you know, how do you get this? How do you get that? And, you know, you get a lot of kids and you come from families where it's single moms or single dads, and they just, you know, just working just to, I want to say just to get by, but just enough for them to survive. So if I can give them that little extra for them to be comfortable, or a little extra, you know, gifts for Christmas, just to put an extra smile on their face, then it's rewarded, man. Because you think like I have clients that come in spending $15, $20, you know, every 2 weeks, man. You have to give back. I mean, you add that up in a year, and you should certainly have enough to give back to at least each of your clients, to just to show them that they appreciate it, man. Because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be around.
So Jay, what is the ultimate goal of the grant that you're making?
Well, hopefully, in God's hands, man, the end goal is to reach to a point where maybe 1 year, if there's 300 seniors and 200 of them want to go to college, then I'm able to do 200 scholarships.
Wow, that is a huge goal, and I do wish you the best on that. It's very admirable for you to do that, especially, you know, Waleed and I being both college students, we understand, you know, how much it is and how much the pressure is, because you are paying for your money, and at the end you gotta, there's no reruns. So you don't have extra lives. You know what I mean?
No,
it's kind of in a game. You just have one life left, and you gotta do well in those exams. So I do really commend you for doing that.
I appreciate that, man. And at the end of the day, it's not the kids' fault that COVID happened. You know what I mean? Some of these kids, their parents lost their jobs. Some of their parents lost their homes. You know, it's not their fault that this happened. You know what I mean? So because of that, it kind of took away, you know, their drive to want to go to school because of everything else that happened, you know? So if I can help them out, then I'm here for that.
So I've noticed that you're especially caring about the children. So do you kind of see yourself in these children?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I grew up poor. We were poor growing up. You know what I mean? Like me and my brothers, we shared clothes, and we couldn't go to school every day because we were sharing clothes. So he would have to wear the clothes that I wore the day before. You know what I mean? Like we slept on the floor. We didn't have a bed. You know what I mean? So it's when I say we grew up poor. But at the end of the day, my mom did what she had to do to get us to where we are. You know, so she worked 3 jobs to get us into the projects. You know, back then, living in the projects was the step up to, you know, get in a house. It's not what it is now. So it was rough, don't get me wrong, but it was a step up from where we came from. So we went from sleeping on the floor, eating peanut butter and jelly and ham sandwiches, to actually spaghetti and meatballs and stuff like that. So little by little, we were coming up. So when I see myself in these kids, because I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like to sleep on the floor.
So Jay, all these kids that look up to you, do you have any final encouraging words before we conclude the podcast, or what do you want to say to them, you know, to keep them going? And
I will tell them 100%, never give up on your dream. Never give up on your dream, because whether it takes 2, 3 years, even 5 years, you know what I mean? Once you accomplish that dream, you know, it's mission accomplished. Don't never stop. Just keep going. Never let anyone tell you that you can't do it, because there's no such thing as you can't do it.
Nice. Waleed and Mo, do you have any, you know, final words that you want to say before we wrap it up?
I think Jay did an excellent job. So leave it off on that. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Jay. And I look forward to seeing you on Friday.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yo, Mo, I just want to tell you, man, I really appreciate you, man. Every time you come into the shop, it's always a good vibe with you, man. Your heart is in the right place, man. I love how you really appreciate your job, and how, you know, you genuinely want to help people, man. So I always got that vibe from you, man. So, you know, it's great it's not only great that what you do for yourself and for others, but you being a Laker fan just makes you
just a connection. There's an instant brotherhood. You run into a Lakers fan, it's like an instant connection.
An instant connection, man. I try to tell the person that likes to shoplift appointments, but he don't get it.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
You too, brother. Thank you
for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Till the next podcast.
Before I wrap up the podcast, we just hit 71 subscribers, guys. Get us to 100. You know, Jay wants that. Waleed wants that. We all want that. So, you know, hit the subscribe button. 82% of you guys that viewed the past videos were not subscribed. So just hit that subscribe button. It does a great deal for me and Waleed. You know, it keeps us motivated to keep on uploading, you know, every other week. So thank you for everyone watching today. Like the video, subscribe, and thanks.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Bye-bye.